think the main thing is something that is difficult sometimes for D&D fans, can be for Pathfinder fans. Look, I wrote a lot of Pathfinder 2e, but this is true for Pathfinder as much as for D&D, which is for a lot of people who play a very heavy system that covers a lot of different aspects and pillars, a kitchen sink system, want to have a system that's the best at all things, and there is no system that is actually the best at everything. There just isn't. Whatever your favorite system is not the best at everything, because there are some specialty systems that literally can only do one thing, but they're really good at doing just that one thing. And can they do anything else? No. You'd have to really hack them and basically perform game design surgery to do anything except for the one thing that they can do. But they're great in that field. But that a lot of people don't want to have to learn 20 RPGs, each of which is good in one thing. So they're like, well, we'll do well enough by picking up one RPG that can kind of do everything. And I think that is almost the obvious market niche for D&D to hold, is that niche, because that's the one that people will have heard of first from the brand name. Like, I think it would be foolish for D&D to try to be the best at one thing and not be able to do anything else, just because of where it stands in terms of being a gateway, in terms of being a brand. That being that kitchen sink, I actually do think is smart for them to do. And it's never going to be the best at those other things, but it makes sense to try to cover them so that they can pull in people.
Okay, here's the problem. I completely agree. D&D should probably, at this state and time, become a kitchen sink system. The problem is that they said, oh, we're still 5th edition D&D. Which is not a kitchen. You can't have
it already is kind of a kitchen sink system. I'm not saying it has heavy rules for those other sections, but it tries to run all of them.
They're trying to be GURPS. They're trying to do everything, and they're like, well, is it going to work with 2014? Yeah, it'll still work with that. Oh, does it have heavy fantasy elements? Sure. Can we do tactics? Yeah. Can we do role playing? Sure. It's like, wait, you can do everything? Yeah, you name it, we got it in here. Don't worry about it, baby. I'm like, what? You can't do everything. Just make up your mind. What the heck is this game? What are we going to be? I don't even know.
I think that, so to me, the interesting thing is honestly, like, what territory is it trying to cover, and does it do like every, like, okay, so the interesting thing would be like OSR games try to tackle the situation differently than D&D, like 5e does, wherein D&D is trying to cover up, or 5e, or like a lot of modern systems, I think Pathfinder even as well, are doing things like, we need to come up with a skill for any situation that's going to come up. Whereas in the system, like, let's say Shadow Dark is saying like, well, yeah, that's most likely going to be a dexterity check. But, you know, so they go much more broad and open and let the abilities kind of just say, this is what applies, not necessarily the specific skill. So like in doing that, it's like, so there's two different approaches to addressing the same problem right there. And I think both managed to actually do it fairly well. I mean, pretty clearly, because, like, you know, 5e is hyper dominant and OSR is thriving and doing its own thing right now. But like, I think if I'm looking at, like, is 5e like the kitchen sink system? I think that 5e does a pretty good job at super powered characters in fantastical settings. And that doesn't specifically always have to be dungeon crawlers. I actually don't think 5e is really good at doing dungeon crawlers, but like,
but it can do a dungeon crawl.
It can do it.
That's what I'm talking about the kitchen sink. It just has to be good enough to do all of the things to kind of get that across, rather than being the best in class at one thing, but not able to do certain other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that's the whole... That's the weirdest part. It's like D&D used to be the gold standard, the best of the best at what they did, and now they're like, yeah, we're the best of the best. Like, they're going on and saying how no one's better than us. We are the gold standard. We are Dungeons and Dragons. Well, they're not
Steven,
anymore.
It's the world's greatest role-playing game. What are you talking about?
Game. But it's not anymore. There's a...
Did you not read the book?
But you know what I'm getting at. It's like
Yeah.
they're just not anymore. There's too much competition out there, and there's a lot of people doing it better. And by trying to be good at everything, you're good at nothing. By
I
the
mean,
way,
it doesn't mean you're not good at
I
anything.
know,
It just
that
means
was
you're a
just
jack of all trades,
there
but
are
master of none, right?
exactly.
But that's
yeah.
a very reasonable build in an RPG
But
that could
they
work.
you're
it's a-
you're 100% right. But
It's
they
the right build for the beginner RPG that
You're
everyone
right.
is getting
Yeah.
into. You don't want it to be one that can only run heists
but
and is like makes Blades in the Dark look like nothing compared to it, but can not run anything but heists. That's not correct
You're
for
right.
the brand
But-
that is
but
people's
WotC
first RPG.
is making it out that they are the best at everything.
Well, everybody says that. We talked about that earlier in the show. How
Yeah, but
Indestructible and
WotC
I don't
actually
like
has-
that everybody says that,
You're right.
but everybody markets themselves like that.
Yeah, but it
There's
rubs me the wrong way.
yeah. Oh, I mean, the way that D&D markets itself as like the world's greatest role playing game, it's definitely the obnoxious pinpoint to them. I would say, but I will say, yeah. I mean, Mark's got it right. It's a jack of all trades system. It does everything all right, and there are definitely other systems that, like, if I wanted to play like cosmic horror, I'd be like, yeah, okay, we can do that with 5e, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
But like, there's so many other systems that could also handle this and specialize in it. But D&D is the one that people are like, yeah, but I could just do this one that I already know.
You know what? I'm going to play
That's-
Star Trek. Yeah, D&D can handle it. Don't worry.
Yeah,
about
D&D
it.
can do that.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Yeah, just kind of crib the Spelljammer rules, and we'll
Yeah, you
use
can do it.
teleportation
Right.
for the
We
transporters
got it.
and
Don't worry about it. What about
fabricate
ship,
for
what,
the
what about
matter
ship combat?
creators.
Okay, maybe that we can't do, but we can
We'll
do
use
everything else.
elves for the Vulcans and
By the
orcs
way,
for the Klingons. We got this.
We got
Yeah.
it. By the way, do like and subscribe. I see we have 450 people, only 150 likes. Come
Oh,
on,
jeez.
people. Come on.
We
have
have a
super chat.
we have a super chat from Bob McDowell who says D&D is and always has been a resource management game with hit points, spell slots, rests, and so on that does not port well to non-fantasy games.
Well, you're
Kind of.
correct in the sense that it was it really was resource management, because again, it came from wargaming, which is all resource management, and slowly over time it's been sort of turning into something it's not. And Critical Role and other actual plays and live plays have changed the game quite a bit, and that's why I keep thinking, like, what? I'm very curious. I just want to see. I just almost wish there was like a mantra or a goal sheet or something to say what is the point of D&D 2024. What are our goals? Like every edition of D&D of pretty much any TTRPG, I can tell you what the goals of that system are, what they were trying to do, what it's trying to address, why you would play it. I cannot for the life of me think of what the goal is.
What were the goals of 3.5?
3.5 was to bring new ideas into the TTRPG space. Well, 3.5 was
Wait, I'm talking about 3.5, not
Okay.
3.0.
I was about to say,
3.5.
you got me. 3.5 was
Was the goal to make money?
No, it was to refine the rules of 3.0, because 3.0 was so different and tried so many new things that they didn't quite get it right. Especially some of the classes like were totally broken. And 3.5 significantly made the game smoother and easier to play and better. And they probably could have used another version, which they did, called Pathfinder First Edition. But 3.5 was a way to control the excesses and the power creep and the imbalance of 3.0 and to smooth it out. Because they just didn't have public playtests back then. Like 3.0 was like basically the world's biggest public playtest. And then 3.5 fixed a lot of that stuff. At least that's what I think.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think you did hit on something though that I would agree. Like, we need an elevator pitch for whatever this thing is going to be, because there's
Yeah.
no elevator pitch.
What's the
you
elevator
know?
pitch for D&D 2024? Tell me,
Yeah.
what is the goals? Who's this game for? What is it fixing? Why should we buy this and care? Seriously. Can anyone answer that? I can't.
So I feel like that the answer to that question would be different depending on who you asked and what say. Like, surely, just like with any small addition change, the design team would say the same thing you just said for 3.0 to 3.5. They would say, because I've been on a design team. Look, we definitely had things when Pathfinder 2 came out that we were like, oh, we could have changed that we only thought of after it was too late. So like some of those are in the remaster, right? But I'm sure if you ask the D&D designers, they would say, well, a lot of these changes are because 10 years is like the world's biggest public play test. And it's long and we have all this feedback and we got 90% or 80% positive on most of these changes. And so we're going to refine to fix some of the issues that people have been having with the books. So it's there to get some things right that we messed up before. I'm sure that that's what they would say. Whereas the executives might say something completely different, like it's going to change the paradigm and shift up the market where and show people that it's bringing it's bringing Dungeons and Dragons.
Don't hurt yourself, Mark.
Yeah, I know. Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition into.
It's bringing D&D into the next version.
Next level.
Yeah, next level. We're bringing D&D to the next level because you know what? We're gamers here too. Oh God. By the way, everyone had an answer to my elevator pitch. Make me some money. That is why they're coming. It's like, what's the point of D&D 2024? Make more money. That seems to be the obvious answer.